Things get crazier and crazier every day for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus. We've got a ton of stuff to break down, so let's jump into it. Yo, whoa, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I bring you guys a brand new video today, and today we are diving into the world of the brand new Pokemon games set to come out in just a few weeks, and then of course Legends Arceus at the end of January next year, and there is a ton of stuff for us to dive into today. If you haven't been following the channel, I've been covering a bunch of riddles and rumors that have been coming out that have gained a ton of traction in the Pokemon community. We're gonna talk a little bit about that as the Riddler has come out and answered some more questions, and then we actually have a couple other things regarding some news, some different statues that are released that are officially confirmed that may give us some question marks into what's going on with Dialga Palkia. And then lastly, there's a post that came out about 3 or 4 months ago that seems to have accurately predicted a handful of forms that have already been confirmed, and that post was written off, but now we're looking back at it. Lots of crazy stuff to address. A lot of this stuff is going to be rumors, so again, take that with a grain of salt, but it's a lot of fun to dive into. And again, I have a feeling that some of this at least will come true, and we're going to get some insight as to what we might see for Pokemon Legends Arceus and beyond. Hit that like button down below if you guys enjoy these types of videos, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. YouTube tells me about half of you guys who watch these videos are not subscribed, so let's change that right now as we are working our way towards 1 million aDrive Army members. Let's dive in to the news, rumors, and everything else. All right, so first thing first, we got the Riddler coming out saying, what do you think of these two pairs? And he's actually comparing the two different protagonists from BDSP and Legends Arceus. In this case, Lucas, I believe his name is, and Ray, and then Akari and Dawn. Now, why is he comparing these two? I don't know, but the more and more we look into this and the more and more we think about this, there's a lot of speculation that there's gonna be time traveling involved here. And in the Pokemon world, that's not that far-fetched. That's a Pokemon, but that's not that crazy, right? We're dealing with space and time Pokemon in Dialga and Palkia. We know that Pokemon like Celebi have powers to time travel. Hoopa can go through different dimensions. So again, tying in the Arc phone and what's going on with that, just keep your head open on this one, because I have a feeling there could be a situation where maybe at the end of BDSP, you end up getting sent to the past, which is Legends Arceus, to try to stop something that happens in that game. They very well could to interlink the two games, and I have a feeling that we might get some information about that in the near future. Riddler then goes on to say that as far as we know, there's 10 wardens in total. You can deduce from hints and these various special announcements, and he actually goes on to mark off where these different wardens are going to be and what those riddles tie to, right? So we see Weirdeer and the warden, we see obviously Cleaver and the warden. We see in the top left corner of the map, we've got the Braviary and a question mark for the warden. We see where the climbing Pokemon is, which we'll talk about again later. I covered that in a previous video, but we're gonna go even more in depth as we have more confirmation about that. We have, I believe, Arezu is her name, and her ladylike Pokemon, and that rumor. Turns out this monkey, or not monkey, bear type Pokemon is tied to another warden, and then of course Basket Legion in the top right corner. But again, look at all these different wardens and the Pokemon that they're working with, and those different ride Pokemon and things like that. And this is the Riddler laying them out on a map for us to see. Pretty crazy stuff. We also have a new screenshot here of Arceus, which is interesting. I believe this is from, it's either from like a poster or the back. It's like from the kind of the back of the games. I think these might have come from like GameStop gift cards or something like that. But it shows some screenshots of Weirdeer and Braviary, and then of course Arceus itself. And it's very much so lit up. So we'll have to see what's up with that. The translation is apparently Arceus, who is said to have created all the world. So never before seen screenshot at this point of the game in Arceus. So we know that there's gonna be something going on there, but what is the secrets that Arceus has? Maybe the rumor at the end of the video will answer some of that. Pokeexperto brings this up. There's this new statue that has kind of been revealed that, and this is gonna be an official like Pokemon product that you can have in your house or whatever. And it shows Palkia and Dialga depicted in a way that's a little different than we normally have them depicted. And this may be a stretch, right? Like, I'm just gonna say that, but if you look at Palkia's claws, and this picture has arrows pointing to it, Palkia's claws are like way more kind of extended. They look different, sharper than they normally look. Dialga's head looks more compressed than the official design, and in general, the Pokemon looks slightly different from their original designs. Is this simply a creative take, or is this indication of a potential new form? Again, this may be a stretch, but it's something that's been buzzing around the community in the last 24 hours. I thought it was worth mentioning. You guys can let me know what you think. I'm not gonna get too caught up in this yet, but I do think there's a chance that we get new forms of both Palkia and Dialga either way. Could this be kind of the first teaser of those? Now we're gonna dive back to the Riddlers and the riddles that we've been covering over the last few days on the channel. And if you haven't seen those videos yet, I'll have them in the description below. Eclipse_TT, who seems to be an insider in this situation, has come out and said, listen, the 3 Chinese Riddlers are referring to the starter types, so don't try any wild guesses. For the yokai, you need to see the signature move and understand to completely understand knowing the concept, which is in relation to the first riddle, which is a lot of people speculating that Typhlosion is going to be fire and ghost type. That's been the consensus among the community. Kotori/Muscle is clear, which is in relation to Decidueye becoming a fighting and grass type Pokemon, and Moth and Moon is simple if you know Japanese. I saw people going nuts with ideas of Spiritomb or Fairy Bug types with Moth. It's simple, but it's not that simple. So, again, we're sticking to our typings of Fire and Ghost for Cyndaquil's line, Fighting and Grass for Rowlet's line, and Dark and Water for Samurot's line. We then go on to see that in my previous video, it seems as though we were correct. Someone finally got it right. Moth Moon Riddle is pointing at Samurot's new type. Moonlight is Gecko, Moth is Ga, and Greninja's name is Gekuka, referring to its types, which are Water, Dark. So obviously I don't speak the language, but that was something we covered in our previous video in the speculation that Samurot's typing was going to match Greninja's typing, being Water and Dark type. So keep an eye on that. Seems like that riddle's solved. Seems like the Decidueye riddle's solved. Seems like we have a pretty understanding of the Typhlosion riddle. A lot of this stuff is starting to come to light now that it's getting a little more traction. The Riddler has really come out and given us more hints. Eclipse then goes on to say that this riddle right here, which is from the manga Esper Mami, is indeed a reference to the Sneasel line, and they're gonna explain a few reasons. They show a specific chapter from where this image came from, and it shows a weasel scarf that is animated by psychic powers of the protagonist. To convince her parents that there was a cat in the house, the girl wears jeans, but gets a cut from a needle stuck in the clothing. It goes on featuring a scene with a Kamatachi, which is a Japanese weasel yokai. Sneasel and Weavile are heavily inspired by this yokai. The Kamatachi is the embodiment of cold wind. When people in snowy mountains would get sharp cuts or pains from cold wind, it was said to be the yokai and its claws. By the way, why is Japanese culture and lore so much cooler? This could explain Sneasel's dark and ice typing. This is what the riddle refers to. Props to some people in the Korean Poke community who solved this, hinting towards Sneasel and Weavile. After the reveal, I'll explain more about this riddle and why this is the climbing Pokemon seen in the leaks. And again, this is from the original leaks, the climbing Pokemon. We still have no confirmation of what that is, but a lot of people have speculated that it is a new Pokemon, and these riddles seem to be lining up to the fact that it is indeed some sort of variation of the Sneasel and Weavile line, which is again, what we've kind of been tossing around for quite a while now. Furthermore, I told you guys that there was a rumor from 3 months ago that came out and was written off at the time, but it seems as though they have nailed a handful of things correct. And whether these were just lucky guesses or not, I don't know, but there's a lot of things that are correct that have come true that certainly makes this worth looking at again. So this was posted back in July, it looks like, and Growlithe was revealed in August, if I'm not mistaken, on my timelines here. So let's take a look at what this says. Dialga and Palkia from BDSP have new signature moves called Brilliant Dilation and Shining Bending. Those are some really annoying names, but okay. They reduce the target speed and target accuracy every turn. Pokemon Legends Arceus Adventure starts on the island northeast side of Sinnoh. The island acts as the intro tutorial area of the game, and on the island, the player has to find 3 different plates, grass, fire, and water. They're guarded by Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup, which are obviously not the starters, but rather just Pokemon that are native to the Sinnoh region. So we already know that Piplup has been seen, Chimchar has been seen, etc. We don't know if this tutorial is real, but again, stick with me on this, because again, at the end, they nail a few things here that, again, could be coincidence, but also could be real. Guardian Pokemon are stronger than normal, like Sun and Moon Totems. After obtaining the first 3 plates, you can access the main area of Sinnoh, or in this case, we'll just replace Sinnoh with Hisui region. The other 15 plates are scattered there. Now, I don't know if there's actually, this is saying there's essentially 18 plates. I think there's only 17 plates, but I guess there could be another plate added. Some of the plates are guarded by stronger Pokemon. Some are in possession of the base leaders, or in this case, the wardens, who will hand over the plates after battles. With the 18 plates in hand, the player has access to the Hall of Origin through a portal. The Hall of Origin is another dimension like the Distortion World. It has a glass and crystal theme, with the crystal having the colors of the 18 plates. Arceus is at the end of the Hall of Origin, but it has a different form, like called the Origin form like Giratina had. It is gigantic like Eternamax and has been faced in a double battle with the help of your rival. It resembles a centaur, having a black hole in its chest like the center of the galaxy. He knows a new move called Creation Pulse that ignores resistance and always does normal damage no matter what type of the target, and has an ability called Original 1, giving it no weakness. At the end of the game, Dialga and Palkia with Brilliant Dilation and Shining Bend can be transferred to Legends Arceus, and in the Hall of Origin can obtain their origin forms. So this is a tie-in, and I do feel like there's got to be a tie-in between the two. So to me, it would make sense that they would have some way to connect the two games. Here is where things are crazy, and this is why we're bringing this old post back up. There are Sinnoh forms, Decidueye, Typhlosion, Samurott. Now at this point, I think based on the entire rumor community, it's pretty safe to assume that the consensus is we're getting new evolutions of those starters. Meowth, okay, we've gotten a bunch of Meowths, not crazy. The Growlithe line. Now again, this post was made before the Growlithe line, has not been edited. The Scyther line. Now again, this was made before Cleaver. That's a pretty bold guess. Dunsparce, rumored in the Riddles as the potential Metal Snail. Nincada line, okay. ZORUARK. ZORUARK is on this. The Wimpod line, and then Suicune, Entei, and Raikou. So this post either is right and was able to get that correctly said because they knew the Growlithe, Scyther, and ZORUARK lines were gonna get new forms, or they just legitimately guessed and got 3 of them correct. Potentially 6, right? Because if you include the starters. Could it have been just a lucky guess? Maybe. But at this point, there's nothing been to dispute this. So I think this is certainly worth considering and at least entertaining right now. Ultra Beasts can be found in the Distortion World as their last point. So they talk about new Sinnohian forms to Growlithe, Scyther, ZORUARK. Those are confirmed, the starters. And then from there, Meowth, Dunsparce, Nincada, Wimpod, and then the legendary beasts, the dogs, Suicune, Entei, and Raikou. Crazy stuff. So now that you're all caught up on everything going on in the Pokemon Legends Arceus, BDSP, world of rumors and leaks and everything in between, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to hit that like button if you guys enjoyed this one, and of course subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I'll keep you guys posted on all the rumors and leaks as time continues here, as we go closer and closer to the release of Pokemon BDSP. I'm really excited for these games, really excited to see some new Pokemon and much, much more. I look forward to going on this journey with you. Make sure you guys subscribe. We're on our way to 1 million subs, baby. Thank you to the aDrive Army. My name is Dan. I also go by aDrive, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Butterfree, go!